Hi, I'm Catherine from KatherineLearnsStuff. Today I'm going to walk you through how to make a whole bunch of different tissue paper flowers. So let's jump in. The supplies that we need to make this craft is a piece of tissue paper. You're going to need a little bit of either matching yarn to tie it up, or if you have staples and a stapler, you can use that instead, and scissors or a paper cutter, depending on what you prefer to use. The first thing that we want to do is we want to fold our tissue paper into halves. Now, each tissue paper size is going to be a little bit different depending on where you buy it from, but I just have sort of a standard piece that I got left over from a birthday. I'm going to fold this in half, and it doesn't need to be perfectly straight, but it helps just for later on. I'm going to fold this once in half, and then I'm going to fold it in half again. And I'm going to fold it again. Now I folded this so that it is just about 10 by 6. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to actually cut this down. So this is 8 sheets right now. So I've got 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this is 8 sheets. I don't want to fold it too much because if I fold it too much, it's actually not going to work out. The flower is going to be too busy. So for a 5 by 5, which is what we'll be making, we're going to want this to be about, we'll need 8 pieces. Now I'm going to cut this a little bit more than 5 because at the end of the day, there's a lot of extra that I have to cut off because we want to have each piece individual. So we don't want to have any folds left in our design. So I'm going to cut all the sides off with my paper cutter. Hopefully it will not jam on me. Now it's okay if things don't cut perfectly because when it's all crumpled up later, it's not going to make a huge difference. So now we have about, if all went well, a 5 by 6. That's too. It's all right. Doesn't need to be perfect. Ideally, a square is what we want. Now we're simply going to fold this into an accordion. Now it's harder to see this when it's all loose and flimsy. You want it to sort of look like this. Next what I'm going to do is I have my matching yarn. If you have a stapler, you can use a stapler instead. I don't, so I'm just using yarn because I happen to have lots of yarn. Just going to wrap my yarn in the middle. Okay, like so. Now for this one, I'm going to give it a, you want to cut the ends just so that they have a shape. This will change the way the flower looks. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side. And every type of different end that you create will have sort of a different look of flower. Okay, so we've got 2 pointed ends there. Now that I've got my tissue paper folded and cut, I'm going to fan this out like so, a little bit, and then I'm going to pull out the tissue papers. Now what you want to do is the first pages are going to kind of come out far, far, far right to the middle, and as you come out towards the end, they're going to be less far out. Okay, that's the one side. And then we're going to repeat the same thing on the other side. And there's our one flower. Now I've gone ahead and I've made a few other ones with different ends so that we can see what those look like as well. So I'm quickly going to fast forward through those and we'll show you what the flowers look like with those ends. So we'll have a flat end, a ruffled end, and a round end. So when we leave the end flat and straight, we're gonna have sort of a wavy flower. I don't even know what I would call this type of a flower. With the ruffled ends, we're gonna have a carnation type flower. If we do a round end or a semicircle, you'll have something that resembles a peony or a rose. And if you have a triangle end, you'll have a dahlia or a daisy type flower. You can always experiment with different types of ends to see what kind of flowers you get and which ones you like the best. So I quickly just wanted to walk you through a difference here that I've done. So the flowers along the bottom row have 8 sheets of tissue paper and the flowers along the top have 6 pieces of tissue paper. Now there's not much difference in the way that they look. They all kind of look pretty nice. So you could use 6 or 8 pieces, but I want to point out that if you use too many pieces of tissue paper, you're going to end up with like this ball of stuff. Now this one has like 12 pieces. And it's just way too much. I can't even like get this to look like a flower. It kind of looks like just like a bunch of stuff. So this is the same size and same cut with 6 versus 12. So you can do too much. There is the ability to do enough. And then if you're doing like bigger flowers, you need more. So this is only 8 pieces on a big flower. This was a 8 by 8, I think. And you can see it's just not enough. So the number of sheets of tissue paper that you need does vary on the size. A 5 by 5 tissue paper works well with 6 or 8 pieces of tissue paper. If you want the flowers bigger, you will need more pieces, but it's more of a trial and error thing. I've tried different numbers, and for the size that I have here, these 5-inch flowers, 6 and 8 pieces is good. When I was making the smaller size ones, the ones with only 6 petals in them, I had a little bit of extra paper left over. So what you can do, and I just want to show you, is you can do like a whole bunch of different colors with them. And that's totally cool too, right? So I'm going to do the blue, orange, red, pink, and red. And so I'm just going to fold these into the same idea, but I'm going to leave the pink a little bit shorter so that it's smaller in the area there. And that's going to give it a little bit of a different look. And what I'm going to do with these center pieces, now that they've all been folded together, I'm just going to quickly snip these ones differently than the other ones so that they kind of look like little inner flower sections. And I'm going to squish it back into place. And now this will fit right back into here, like so. And now we're going to tie this up. And now these bits I'm just going to round off so that they're not so probably could have done that when they were not together. And again, this time we're going to make sure that we're folding outward with the pink in the middle. So we've got some options of different flowers that we can do. So if you do different colors on this one, you can make it look like a different type of flower. But we've also got all of our other options as well that we've done with these flowers. So the one thing that I like to do when I make flowers is I like to actually put them on stems, and I find that not everywhere can you find that information. So I bought these little stems here that I bought, and I'll drop the link below in the video. But these ones have like a thicker body part and a thin sort of end piece here. And this is really convenient for these flowers because if you just bend it with some pliers, because I'm obviously too weak to do it by hand, and you've got like a little shape like that, you can actually fit this into your flower body here. and get it right over there, and then it sticks into your flower, and then you got a stem for it. So this is how I'm doing all of them. You can add like a little piece of greenery down here to cover the bottom, but I mean, you're really looking at the top of the flowers. So I'm quickly going to redo all of my flowers with stems, and then I'll be able to put them into a vase so that they can stand nicely. The last thing I want to just say is, if you're putting stems on and you're worried that the paper and the stem aren't going to hold on together, you can always just dab a little bit of hot glue onto here. And that's just what I'm going to do, just because I don't want them to come off, and I don't want too much, just a little bit to hold it in place, and then that's enough. And this is optional, but I like to do this just a little bit at the end so that my flowers don't come off of the stem, just in case I start to move them around too much. That way, when I'm arranging them, they won't fall out of the stems. And there you have it. We've successfully made our tissue paper flowers. I hope you've enjoyed this craft as much as I have. If you've tried this out, let me know how it turned out. If things didn't work out, let me know where you struggled with. Thanks so much for watching, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Happy crafting!